This is Paul. Yes. I just got to the cafeteria. Yeah. And I was trying to open that MHT file from yesterday while I was at the library. Yeah. Do you remember when I put that on the drive, the War Crimes Drive? Yes. You know, this request details. It says in the Google app. Yes. That's all we know. Just looking at some pictures of the mutual legal assistance treaties that I mentioned yesterday. Yeah. Currently requesting transfers of data. Yes. Between the United States and member states of the European Union. For purposes of law enforcement investigations are primarily governed by mutual legal assistance treaties or letters rogatory. Yeah. Now, this is a word, yes, that must mean something in legalese, yes, rogatory. Now, it's one of these situations where you would say, well, that's all we know. After 2,800,000 emails, yes, 45,000 videos, I'm going to want to know everything you know. Oh. Now, let's say you're sitting there. You're in a police department. You're in the sheriff's department. Yes. You're one of these mandatory reporters in the fire department. Poop. You're a physician, a dentist, yes, a doctor. And I'm going to want to know everything you know. Now, sometimes the more you know, the greater the liability. Yes, because I just looked online and I didn't get any emails. Yes, I'm not sitting with Marilyn. I'm not sitting with my sons. Now, that's all we know. Now, when I think about law enforcement investigations, yes, it could be, do you know about forgery? Or violating civil rights, or torturing American citizens, ooch, impersonating government officers? Yes. Now, a passenger name record. Additionally, various other international agreements, ouch, such as the Terrorist Financing Tracking Program, the TFTP. Yes, I'd like to know. Yeah. And the passenger name record, PNR agreement. Yeah, I'd like to know. Now, let's say you're one of these that has multiple passports. Could you get me the passenger name record of every passenger on all flights? Yes. Between, going to and from, yes, the various nations of the world that say, well, we do have to enforce the laws and we can't take children from their parents without any due process. Yes. And then I'm thinking that if you're involved in terrorism, there's the availability of tracking your actual assets. Oh. Could you get me the assets of all the known terrorists? Yes. As of what do we know? Oh, that's all we know. Pooch. Now, I'm just wanting to look at this data. Request and transfer data between the United States and Europe. In the context of law enforcement investigations. Let's say you're in law enforcement. I would have thought that somebody would have investigated my claims, right, of not being in Sequim, Washington on December 31st of 2015. I would have thought that somebody in law enforcement would have investigated, yes, that I wasn't in Brendan, Washington on June 16th of 2017. Yes. And I wasn't cyber stalking. No. I would have thought that you in law enforcement, yes, would have investigated the use of forgery and fraud. Pooh. But no one has, have they? No. You decided that you would not participate in any of the mutual legal assistance treaties. Now, let's say you work in the European Union. You're in the Interpol? Yes. The Europol? Yes. South American Pol? You're in these international terrorism organizations? Yes. where your job is to investigate terrorism. Now, I'm just going to want to know of all the international treaties and agreements of those that have knowledge, ooch, of what do we know, pooch, that's all we know, that you had an obligation to investigate at any moment that you had, yes, actual evidence, ooch, of fraud, forgery, kidnapping. Oh. Now, I'm going to be here for a little while, okay? And I would like it, yes, if somebody decided that they would investigate what is known as crime, and if it's not the state of Washington, yes, if it isn't any state of the United States, yes, there could be some international law enforcement agencies that I would have the legal right to sue, yes, for refusing to investigate their knowledge of forgery and fraud, kidnapping, child abuse, child exploitation. Oh, now these international treaties of the United States, yes, where we have this agreement, that's all we know. Yes, I want to know. Yes, every nation of the world, European Union. Yes, and all the law enforcement investigations. Yes, that can be initiated. Ooch, in every nation of the world. Ooch, as soon as they have knowledge of any sort of violating of the laws. Now, the umbrella agreement, which is intended, yes, which is intended to supplement but not replace these existing international agreements, would create rules governing, among other things, the purpose and use of collected data, transfers to third party countries. Yes, security members to protect instructions, loss or disclosure of data, notification of security breaches, and administrative and judicial redress. Now, for a more detailed discussion and analysis of the CJEU safe harbor decisions, and the JRACRS has published a general congressional distribution memorandum that is available upon request. Now, this memorandum, yeah, it's the long word for what's known as memo. Yes, as in I'm going to give you a memo.